Hi viewers, welcome back to our channel. So in this video we will continue learning line command and perform tasks 6, 7 and 8. So instead of doing it with using different coordinate systems and different options like snap mode or ortho mode, we will decide which method is most suitable for a particular type of drawing. So we will start with task 6. So in this task we can see that we have a grid available and each box is of 0.5 units in x-axis and y-axis. So after analyzing this drawing, we can see that we can easily make this drawing by using the snap mode. We just have to click at multiple locations and easily we can draw this drawing or sketch. Okay, so let's start this drawing. So first of all, we have to invoke the line command by typing L. After that we have to give the coordinates of start point, but before that we have to do some settings, like we have to switch on the snap mode, we have to adjust the grid settings and snap settings. So the grid setting is already 0.5 for x spacing and 0.5 for y spacing. Same is the case for snap spacings, which are 0.5 and 0.5 for x and y spacing respectively. Okay, since our grid settings and snap settings are perfectly okay, so whether this dynamic mode is switched on or off, it doesn't matter. So we will start the drawing by invoking the line command by typing L and pressing enter. Okay, so the first point of this drawing is 2, 2. So we are already at point 2, 2. So now we have to move 4 boxes and press left mouse button. After that we have to move to this location and press left mouse button. Then we have to move to this location and press left mouse button. Now we have to move to the left direction and we have to click after moving 6 boxes, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 6. So we will left click on this point, then we have to move 2 boxes downward, left click, and after that we can click on this close button and we are done with our drawing. So we can see that we can very easily draw this drawing. Just imagine if we draw this line using the absolute coordinate system, it will take a lot of time, a lot of calculation, and it is not recommended at all, at least for this type of drawing. So now we will move to the next drawing, which is task 7. So in this drawing we can see that there is no grid available. So if there is no grid available, we can surely decide that we cannot do it using absolute coordinate system. We have to do it with relative coordinate system. So in relative coordinate system we have further 2 subtypes, which are relative Cartesian coordinate system, in which we give x and y coordinates, whereas we have another type which is named as relative polar coordinate system, in which we give distance and angle with respect to a reference, which is generally positive x-axis. So another thing which we can decide after looking at this drawing is that we cannot draw it using snap mode because there is no grid available. we cannot draw it using absolute coordinate system. So we can have to draw it using a relative coordinate system. The start point is given and there is no coordinate. Second point is given, there is no grid, so we cannot use the snap mode. We cannot use the ortho mode for these two lines, but for the rest of the lines we can use the ortho mode. Okay, so we will start it using the relative polar coordinate system. So the start point is somewhere over here. Since the coordinates of these points are not given, so we will take this point as origin and type 0, 0 to start our line. So let's start this drawing. First of all, we have to invoke the line command by typing L and pressing enter. So now we have to specify the first point. Let it be 0, 0. So now our line command is started, but we cannot move further using Cartesian coordinate system because the coordinate of this point are not given. Instead, we have a length of this line given, and we can calculate the angle which this line makes with the positive x-axis. This is positive x-axis, this is positive y-axis. This is negative x-axis, this is negative y-axis. Okay. So how we can calculate the angle which this line makes with the positive x-axis? In order to do it, we have to analyze this line first. So this line is making 80-degree angle with the negative x-axis. So for this line we have origin over here. This is positive x, this is negative y, this is positive y, this is negative x. So this line is making 80-degree angle with negative y-axis, or we can say that this line is making 10-degree angle with the positive x-axis. Since this drawing is symmetrical with respect to x-axis, so we can safely state that this line is making positive 10-degree angle with the positive x-axis, as this line is making negative 10-degree angle with the positive x-axis. So the angle for this line is 10-degree with positive x-axis. So what we have to do, we have to write 5 for the length of the line and less than sign for entering the value of angle, which is 10, and press enter. So now we have this line drawn. So now we can shift to ortho mode and draw rest of the lines. 0.5, then we have to move 2.5, and then we have to move once again 0.5, once again we have to move 2.5, once again we have to move 0.5, and now we have to get out of the ortho mode and we have to give the coordinates of this line once again in relative polar coordinate system. So first of all, we have to calculate the angle which it makes with the positive x-axis. So we are here and we want to draw this line. It means now our Cartesian coordinate system is over here, origin is at this point, this is positive x, this is positive y, this is negative x, this is negative y. So we can say that if we have origin here, it means that this line makes an angle of 170 degree with the positive x-axis. This is positive x-axis. So if we go from here to negative x-axis, total angle is 180 degree centigrade. But we know that this angle is 10 degrees, so the total angle of this line is 170 degrees centigrade, whereas the length is the same as which is given for this bottom line. So what we will do, we will enter the coordinates of this line as 5 for the length of the line and less than sign, and then we will type 170 angle and press. Oh, this is something wrong with this thing. So we forget to. So what we will do, we will type @5 and then less than sign and then enter 170 degree. So since we are in relative coordinate system, so we are mentioning the angle from this point. After that we can simply close the diagram like this. In this way we can draw a drawing which is in which don't have the grid available and which don't have the coordinates of different points available. So this drawing will only contains information of line, length and angles. So in order to draw this sort of line or this sort of drawing, what we have to do, we have to use a relative polar coordinate system. So now let's move to the next drawing, which is a bit complex as compared to this one. So this is task 8. Once again, what we have a drawing in which there is no grid available, there is no information about the coordinates of different points. The only thing which we have are the lengths of the line and the angles which it makes with the positive x-axis. Once again we will draw this line using ortho mode and a relative polar coordinate system. So let's start this drawing. So the starting point of this line is 1.5 comma 1.75. So what we will do, we will simply start the line command and type 1.5 comma 1.75. In order to make the drawing creation a bit easy, we will change the grid settings to 1 since we are not going to use this snap mode, so it doesn't matter what is the size of the snap grid, and this snap mode is switched off. Okay, so now what we have to do, we have to draw a line, this line from point 1 to point 2, and the length of this line is 1 unit. We can do it by either ortho mode or we can do it either using the relative polar coordinate system. So what we will do, we will type 1 as length and angle should be 90 degree, and we will put @ at the start. So we have this line. So now for this line, what will be the coordinates? The length will be 2 and angle will be 0, because this line is making 0 degree angle with the positive x-axis. But what we did wrong is that we have to put the @ sign at the start. So now this line is correct. So now we have to draw this line from point 3 to point 4. The angle of this line with positive x-axis is 30 degrees centigrade, whereas the length of this line is same as this line, which is 2 units. This is because this drawing is symmetric with respect to a horizontal line which is passing through this point. Okay, so the coordinates will be @2 angle 30. So after that we have to draw a line between points 4 and 5 the coordinates will be 0.75, angle is 0, and we have to mention @ sign at the start. After that we have to draw this line. So this line makes an angle of this line from 5 to 6 is making an angle of 270 degree, because we have to move from here to here. So the angle is 270 degree and the length is 1.25. So what we will do, we will give the command as @1.25 angle 270, or we can give @1.25 angle -90. So the results are the same, because this line is making either -90 degree angle with the positive x-axis, or it's making 270 degree angle with the positive x-axis. So now we have to draw a line from point 6 to point 7. The angle which this line makes with the positive x-axis is 180 degrees centigrade and the length is 1. So what we will type? We will type 1 less than 180. Less than sign is for mentioning the angle in it. So for the line between point 7 and 8, we will type @0.5, angle is once again 270 degree. For the line between point 8 and 9, the length is 1 and angle is 0. For the line between points 9 and 10, the angle will be once again 270, whereas the length is given as 1.25. This line is of same length as of this line. So @1.25 less than 270. So now we have to draw a line between the points 10 and 11. The length is 0.75, whereas the angle is 180 degrees centigrade, and we have to put @ sign initially. So we have this line available. Now we have to draw this line. So we know that this line is making 30 degree angle with the positive x-axis, and this line is the mirror image of this line is the mirror image of this line. It means this line is making 30 degree angle with the negative x-axis. So if this is the total angle of 180 degree and we are subtracting 30 degree from it, it means it is making 150 degree angle with the positive x-axis. We are assuming that our coordinate system is at this point, because we are working in relative polar coordinate system. So the command will be @2 is for the length of the line less than 150. So what we will do to close this drawing, instead of typing C or pressing this close button, we will type the coordinates so that we can check whether we draw the drawing correctly or not. Because if this drawing is not drawn correctly, then this line will not terminate at the start point. So according to the knowledge which we gain in the lecture, the coordinates for the line between point 12 and 1 should be @2 angle 180. So we can see that the start point and end points are meeting with each other. It means that all the points or all the lines are drawn correctly as per the data given in this drawing. So thank you very much for watching this video. In the next video we will discuss few more drawings which are more complicated than this drawing using the relative polar coordinate system. Thank you very much.